All right. So this whole chapter has been about two functions. One, polynomial. Second, rational function. Rational function, again, means something like f of x over g of x. So there's a function in the denominator, so we're going to have problems with undefined. When we have rational inequality, so you have something over something where both of them have x. On the sign chart, we still have to create a sign chart, but this time we need to put in x values that make this function 0. And then we have to put in x values that make the function undefined. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Which one is going to be, which one needs to be 0 in order for the whole thing to be 0? Is that f or g? F, yes. When f is 0, the whole thing is 0. Now, what's going to make it undefined, f or g? G, because it's in the denominator, right? Okay, so let's look at this example here. We have 2x plus 1 over 2 factors. We need to write the sign chart that has the zeros and the undefined. What makes this function 0? No, what makes the function 0? Negative 1 over 2. What makes the function undefined? Negative 3 and 1. Are they the same kind? Like they're all making the function 0? No. So when they go on the sign chart, you need to be careful. So what I do is I write something to tell me that they're not the same. So, you know, something like this, negative 3 is making it undefined. 1 is making it undefined. If you do that, then you're not going to accidentally include it in your answer because you thought it was a 0. It's not. It's making it undefined. Okay, so I put a little symbol there to tell myself that that's going to be undefined and not the same as a 0. Now we're going to do the sign chart the same as before. So give me a number that's smaller than negative 3. Negative 4. Give me a number that's between negative 3 and negative 1/2. Negative 1. Give me a number between negative 1/2 and 1. 0. And a number bigger than 1. 2. All right, let's take a look. Negative 4. If I put negative 4 in the numerator, is it going to be positive or negative? Negative. I'm going to put a sign here. Negative. If I put negative 4 in x plus 3, is that positive or negative? Huh? Negative. Okay, if I put negative 4 in x minus 1? Okay. All right. Negative divided by negative, negative. So basically 3 negatives. 3 negatives makes positive or negative? Negative. All right, let's try 1. All right, I'm going to go down the line. Alana, negative 1 in here, is it positive or negative? Junior, when I put negative 1 in here, is it positive or negative? Okay, if I, Allison, if I put negative 1 in here, is it positive or negative? Huh? In negative? Okay. So Aaron, is it gonna this interval gonna be positive or negative? Positive. All right, let's try another one. Josh, if I put 0 in this first one, is it positive or negative? Positive. Mark, if I put 0 in here, positive. Evan, if I put 0 in here, minus. All right, Penny, is this interval positive or negative? Yes. All right, last one. I'm kind of making it very messy. Okay, 2, McKenna, if I put it in here? Positive. Let's see. Andy, if I put it in here? Positive. And then Sherry, if I put it in the last one? So then, Caleb, what is this interval? Positive. All right, let's see if you guys can answer this on the spot. Trey, which interval is going to be positive? And where?
Oh, and the other place is 1 to infinity.
Yes. And what is the reason? So this question is for everybody. What is the reason that we don't include any of those points? Okay, it's undefined. That's one thing, but the main thing is not because it's undefined. It's because of this, the inequality. It's only greater than, not equal to. So that's why we don't include endpoints, even if it does exist. All right, let's try Alana. Which interval is less than?
Less than -3.
Less than -3. Okay, so negative infinity to -3. And what else?
-1/2 to 1.
Okay, good. All right, let's have you guys practice one. So you need to draw the sign chart and then figure out what makes it positive, what makes it negative. All right, let's start with Junior. What goes on the sign chart?
-5.
Okay. Which ones are zeros and which ones are undefined?
2.5 and -1 are zeros. And -5 is
Okay, so I'm gonna put it here, so that tells me that it's undefined. Let's see, Aaron, do you have the sign? The signs?
Oh, yes, for negative 5? Or
Just like read it across.
I'll read it across.
Uh-huh.
Negative, positive, negative, positive.
Okay. All right. Allison, can you tell us which one is positive? -5 to -1? Okay, and then? Okay. And then Josh, which one is negative?
-5.
-1,
7/2.
7/2. Good. All right, let's see. Let's try this one. At the beginning of our class, on page 33, the first example. So we have the sign chart. And we know that what goes on there is -3 and all the way up to 1. What happens at -3? According to our sign chart, what happens at -3?
It goes from negative to positive.
No, at -3. What? Huh?
Yeah. Oh no, it's undefined.
It's undefined. So what kind of thing is?
You put the weird circle and then you go the hole.
No, it's an asymptote. It's a vertical asymptote. Okay, I'm gonna go cry today. Later, you can join me. Okay, at -3 and 1, they're both asymptotes. At -1/2, it's a 0, so it's gonna cross. At -3 or below, it's gonna be below the graph, so probably like that. Between -3 to -1/2, it's gonna be above, so like this. And then after that, it's gonna be below. And we know it will cross at -1/2 because it's a 0. And then bigger than 1, it's going to be plus, so like that. Now, I drew it like this. The question, okay. Come back later. We'll practice some more. Let's try another one. This one, there is not one function. So what you have to do is you need to combine it into one function. That way you have a numerator and you have a denominator. So kind of recall from Algebra 2. To combine it into one function, you need to make sure that they have the same denominator. Okay, so combine it into one big function. That way you have a numerator and you have a denominator. Then put it on the sign chart again. So go ahead and do that. Let me know when you're done. Okay, so once you combine the fractions together, you should get -x minus 5 over x plus 2 times x minus 1 greater than 0. Okay, that means, okay, so on the sign chart, you should have -5, -2, 1. Now, -2 and 1 are going to be undefined, so you want to just put that in there. Sign chart is positive minus positive, negative. The question is only asking for greater than, so we only care about the positive. So the answer is -infinity to -5, and then -2 to 1. Let me ask you another question. What if this question is not just asking for greater than? What if the question is asking for greater than or equal to? How would the answer be different?
Oh, then don't include the one on the bottom or the denominator for the.
Yes, but we already didn't include anything. So what would be what would be different?
You would include -5.
You would include -5 because -5 is equal to 0, while -2 and 1 are going to be undefined. So I still cannot include them. Okay, so that would be the difference. Make sure you read the question again. Please read the question. This is going to be tricky. If you didn't notice there was an equal to, you might have not included -5, which is equal to 0. So please be careful and read the question. All right, now we are going to move on to something that's a little bit different. Other kinds of inequality. So we have to figure out again what would make it 0, what would make it undefined, what would make it positive and negative. Same thing as before. We want to put in whatever makes it equal to 0 and undefined. Okay, what makes this equal to 0? Okay, -5/2. What else? 3. Okay, what makes it undefined? Okay, good. 4. So I'm going to put a thing there just to remind myself. I'm going to pick some numbers. Give me a number that's smaller than -5/2. -3. Between -5/2 to 3? 0. 3 to 4? Yeah, 3.5. There's no nice number. Okay, bigger than 4? 5. All right, let's try it. Let's put in -3. If I put -3 in this first factor, 2x plus 5. Positive or negative? Negative. Okay, if I put in -3 in this second one, square root x minus 3. Positive or negative? Negative? Okay, talk to your partner. Is it positive or negative? If you put in -3 in the square root x minus 3. Okay, put in -3, what do you get? Undefined. Okay, you can't square root a negative number. So this whole interval is gone. In fact, anything that's smaller than 3 is gone because it will always make this part undefined. So remember, inside the square root, this has to be greater than or equal to 0. So all the stuff you learn, you gotta sync it all together. You can't learn this new thing and then forget the old thing. You gotta remember all those rules. So anything that is less than 3 is not gonna work. So those two intervals are gone. All right, let's try 3.5 then, because those two other intervals are no longer there or no longer in our consideration. Okay, so 3.5. 3.5 in this first factor, is it positive or negative? Everybody. Positive. That way you can kind of stay awake. Okay, positive. And then the second one? Positive. And then what about this bottom one? Positive. And it's always going to be positive. And why is that? It's squared. This is always positive. Okay, so this interval is positive. Next one, if I put in 5, what do you guys think? Positive. The whole thing is positive. Always positive. Yes. Let's look at the answer. This is where it gets very tricky. Please make sure you pay attention. What makes it 0? Really? Talk to your partner.
Oh shoot, they don't include in there, so there's not.
What makes it equal to 0? What makes it equal to 0?
Include that, except for
What makes it equal to 0? What makes it 0? 3 only. Okay, negative 5 over 3 power of 2 is not going to work. It's going to make the whole thing undefined. What makes it undefined? 4, good. 4, what else?
Negative 5 over 2. Oh, wait.
Yes, bigger than that.
Oh, you mean negative?
Huh?
Anything.
Negative infinity, yeah, definitely. Negative infinity, but what else? It's an interval. 2, 3, yes.
Huh?
Anything less than 3 is not going to work. Okay, we gotta think. Yes?
Why is it not plus minus for the square root?
Okay, so this is a great question.
It's a function, so
No, it's because of the principal root. So there is an imaginary plus in front. If they don't write anything, there's an imaginary positive in front. Basically, that's called the principal root. So it says that I want a positive root. If it says like this, that means I only want the negative root.
okay.
Yeah. So this is different from this. When you square root, there are 2 numbers that will make it work. But when they just write it like that, it's basically implied. There is a positive in the front. All right. What makes this function positive? 3 to what? 3 to infinity.
What?
I'm gonna cry.
Wait, so we just don't include anything? Oh, wait. Oh,
Positive.
Oh, because
They're both positive, but
Oh my god.
It can't be 4.
it can't be 4. 4 is gonna make it undefined, right? Okay, that's one thing. It can't be 4 because it's gonna make it undefined. What's another thing? What's another reason? Let's say 4 is equal to 0, like not undefined, and 0. Why is the answer still not 3 to infinity? It doesn't have what? Why not? Oh yes, but if 4 is defined, why is the answer still not correct? So this answer is 3 to 4, and then 4 to infinity. No matter what 4 is, whether it's equal to 0 or undefined. Why is that?
Oh, it's positive.
Yes, the question says positive. It doesn't say equal to. When it's positive, it's just we're looking at what's positive, not equal to. So even if 4 is defined, you have to skip it. Because 4 is equal to 0, not a positive number. Positive numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 has no signs. Okay, so we have to skip that. Okay, negative. What makes it negative? None. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, so for example, let's try this one. Very weird one. We can do this as long as we have our sign chart. What makes it 0? Good. What makes it undefined? -3, very good. Okay, let's pick numbers. What's a number smaller than -3? What's a number between -3 and 2? Bigger than 2? Good. If I put in -4 in the numerator, is it positive or negative? Negative. If I put -4 in the denominator? Positive. In fact, what's interesting about the denominator? Absolute value, so always positive. So the denominator is always positive. Or 0, but we already skipped it. So negative over positive, this is negative, and if you put 0 in, what would that be? Negative. Put 3 in, positive. Let's answer the question. Where is it less than or equal to 0? Write your answer. Okay, so the part that is less than or equal to 0, that is -infinity to -3, and then -3 to 2, include 2. All right, let's have you guys try one, and then we're going to go back to the previous ones and try to graph it based on the sign chart without our calculator. Let's get it on the sign chart. All right, anything less than -1 does not exist, so there's nothing there. we have a minus and plus. The question is which one is greater than or equal to 0? Hint, hint. So 3 to infinity, that's correct. That's where most of you have it. And then x equals -1. That's equal to 0. Okay, so make sure you have all of that. All right, let's go back a page. We're going to try to graph some of these functions with just the sign chart.